Well, good evening. I'm Epstein, and here we are with your Spider ETF stock market wrap-up, and this is for Tuesday, the 6th of August, 2024. So as we look at the markets today, you think it looks pretty good. We came back in all the stock indices. Was it a dead cat bounce? I hate to use that term because I'm a cat lover. I think we have 7 new kitties outside under my porch. So I've got more than enough cats. They were born on Monday, a week ago Monday. So their eyes are just opening. But when you take a look at what goes on here, you had a bounce in a number of the markets. You started giving up some of the, if you will, the lack of premium or yield that the markets lost yesterday. Added some yield back today in TLT and BND. Gold was down. It was weak all day. Copper about unchanged. Silver on the weak side today as well. Boeing gave back a little, but yesterday, the market tried to hold the 162.5 zone. We'll see if that's able to come into play here. Uranium actually bounced a little today. It's been terrible. And a number of these markets better. We saw Rivian come out today with its numbers, and they're going to still do 57,000 cars. They got $1.5 billion infusion, and they're going to need it. If you make 59,000 cars, they're currently losing per car $30,000. That's their estimate. You saw yesterday Fisker's losing about $270,000 a car. That's their burn-through rates. Now, the good news for Rivian is Volkswagen has joined into their technology. That's going to come down the road and help. And they have finished all their new lines that they had to put in for manufacturing. They were down part of the last quarter as well, so you've got to take that into account. And they think they'll meet their numbers and that they could be actually very close to cash positive, not losing $30,000 a car very soon. I don't know that it'll be the fourth quarter, but they think it's very, very soon. Those are all good numbers, When you get a company like Lyft only doing 9,000 cars a year, how do you stay in business versus 59,000? But the key for both of these, they got to have bigger volume. It's got to come, and then the burn rate's got to come down in order to survive. When you look at Amazon, it's not bouncing. I mean, yeah, you were down yesterday, but what were you up today? 90 cents from that big break? It's not impressive. That's my point. The pattern is one of a higher high, lower low with a gap in the center. I'll bet that gap gets filled, but it doesn't have to be filled now. It could be filled later, but I do believe it will get filled over time. The market is under all key moving averages, and now you've got an even worse situation because the 18-day average, and I'll show you this right over here. This is yesterday. And the 18-day average was just getting underneath the 100, and today it solidified that position. So hard rallies that fill the gap, they'll probably get sold there by people that are just saying, I've had enough with Amazon for the time being. And there are people caught after this big break. I believe that. You've now got 3 days under the lower Bollinger Band. You typically don't go more than 7, with 5 being a typical number where the market tries to lean on it. But it's not a pretty picture. That's the way to say all this. You're oversold. Maybe that's the one thing it's got going for it. So when you put it all together, you have a market, let me just put it this way, with the slow stochastics, higher high, lower low, oversold, not a lot there. CrowdStrike was one of the gainers today, and could this be that the market's finally forged a trading bottom? You're getting fight back on this company from Microsoft in a big way now, so be aware of that. Now they're Delta, coming after them and CrowdStrike, and the more we're finding out, what we're finding out is in the case of Delta, they didn't upgrade their computers, according to CrowdStrike. And there's nothing that could have saved them. The argument is, from everybody, that if you had up-to-date software from Microsoft, up-to-date software from CrowdStrike, yeah, the situation happened, but Delta's lasted much longer than any other airline, which caused their $500 million loss plus. And CrowdStrike says if you don't upgrade your systems, not much we can do for you. And that, I don't know if there's truth to that. This is now the beginning of those arguments. In uranium, all you did is move back to the right-hand side. This is still a very bearish chart. It's embedded. To tell me that you have the shot of a rally, the red line's got to close over 21. Until it does on rallies, the traders will sell into this, I think. Still looking for lower lows. I brought up Rivian with all that because here is where you're at. And you can see how the market is fighting at the 200-day average for support right now. If that doesn't hold, be careful. You could open the door up for the 12 level. I don't see people rushing to buy it just yet. That's a problem. In Freeport, I might drop this. You know, we're watching COPX, and Freeport's not going anywhere until copper comes alive. So if you want me to replace Freeport with something, write me on my YouTube channel, and I'll consider it, okay? So we'll talk about it that way. But to talk about it now, I shouldn't just pass over it. Higher high, lower low. Once you got under the 200-day average, you open the door up for the Bollinger Band, and that's where you're at. A tip-off that the market wants to rally would be the red line, which finished at 1698, closing over 21. Not 21, closing over a 21 reading. In Linn, well, the market is now finding its footing, or trying to, at the 18-day average. I was surprised it's been down this much, only in the sense that you can see interest rates, even though they went a bit higher today, they're not galloping higher. So the market's under pressure. I think it's well understood that we're going to get interest rate cuts from the Fed. Do I know the date they'll begin? No, because if the Fed's data dependent, they're going to look at the data in the month of August before they make any decisions for September. It is August 6th. We have time for that data. But the thinking is a September, November, December cut right now. How big will be argued by the pros. Some calling for 75.2 cuts of that. Others calling just stay with your 25. It's all over the board. In the home builders, they, just like Linn, found their footing today against the 100-day average in the Bollinger Band, the second day in a row. The problem is there's no trend. You have a higher high and lower low. The second problem is you're oversold. The third problem is there's no buy signal on something like that. When we come to XLF, well, look at how you just fell apart. I mean, this market, the more I went back and looked at the chart, this market based out back here. I think you'd agree with me, in the June timeframe. Pretty close to where this low was the other day. It took away 2 months of building, and this took 4 days to accomplish. Day 1, 2, 3, 4. And now you got to bounce, and notice where the market stopped, right at that 100-day average. But bears, when you drop in markets, learn, they fall faster than they rally. It's that way in the futures markets as well. In XLI, it's the same thing. You did all this work. Just think about that. You worked yourself higher June and July. You got up to a peak here in the industrial sector. People going, the Fed's going to save it. The Fed's going to save it. The market believes that. It gets the terrible, terrible jobs report, and the bottom falls out of the market. Probably the opposite of what a lot of people thought. On the energy, okay, you're trying to stay out of the Bollinger Bands right now and trying to say that you're making a new low move in there. You can't ignore that. I don't see anything friendly on that right now. In the gold miners, you have a higher high, lower low, not a lot that you should be doing there. Do pay attention that the first challenge of the 100-day average in Bollinger Band, yes, that's where the pros probably covered, and you bounced up inside the band. But again, there's no buy signals. This is the time, see my fingers? That's what you want to do more of right now. Let the dust settle. Silver's acting bearish still. Lower highs, lower lows, no bounce. Still very oversold, nothing that I see there. And the copper, well, the weekly chart went right down to what we talked about over the weekend, and you could see you're just laying down again with a higher high and lower low. You and I aren't blind. We can see the markets coming down, but if you're looking for what's defined as a trend, these are vertical price moves, not yet what you'd call lower high and lower lows to say it's in a downtrend by the strictest definition. Same in TLT. You had a runaway vertical market. And I told you, vertical markets give that up in time. It's the weight of them. You can't keep going in that plane like that. It eventually drops down. You see it all the time in old movies as the planes take to the sky and the dog fights are going on. Well, that's what's going on here. So a correction taking place, even in momentum, starting to roll to the downside. The dollar got beaten up really good. It's giving you a bounce back into the Bollinger Bands, but there's nothing bullish on the chart. It is oversold, so it may temper new money coming into it. And the opposite happened in the euro as the market shot up to the upper band, and it's all backing off right now. So is this a good time to be doing much of anything? I don't think so. I think it's a good time that you twiddle your thumbs, you enjoy the last days of summer like I am doing. It's nice to do that. Take our guide to technical indicators. If you watch what I do here and you want better explanations or more complete, price charts, different types of charts, chart patterns. I use 14 of them, and I included in my new traders kit. Trend lines, you can see how they'll work. How do traders draw them? Why do they draw them? How many lines should connect? How do you work with them? Parallels and so on. The different oscillators. I love slow stochastics, but you might like relative strength. There are different versions of relative strength. You might want MACD, moving average convergence divergence. Elliott wave theory, Gann theories, price-time relationship, which is really the Arun indicator. Options primer, and then the one big thing people don't realize is you got to have money management. Sometimes you love your position, but the chart's not right, and you go, I think it's going to pull back. Do I want to keep owning that? And you have to make a decision. There's nothing wrong with that if you know what you're walking yourself into. On the other hand, what traders don't learn is how to take a loss when the trade's going against them and it's really not working out. And that can break accounts and get you frustrated, and it keeps you from deploying money into positions that just might work for you. So we cover all that. There's many parts in here. This is my good friends at Futures Magazine, Guide to Technical Indicators. Sorry, I hit the wrong button there. Just move your cursor up here. It'll take you there. Or go to iraepstein.com, right through there. That'll take you there as well. I'm Ira. You have yourself a great day, and I'll catch up with you all tomorrow morning. Take care.